quote unquote chosen ones, you have compatibility issues. Now, the first time it happened where you went through a situation that you were betrayed, you didn't really catch on to it. You really didn't, you couldn't really figure out what was happening. You was in a circumstance and you kept bringing it, giving it your best. You kept excelling, meeting expectations, but something was off, and you said to yourself, let me just keep enduring. Let me tighten my game up. You may have been on a job and you was knocking it out of the park, delivering the metrics and everything. And you look up one day and you end up breaking. And you didn't catch on, and then you later find out it was never about your best or enduring, but the circumstance was set up so it can chase you out. And it may have not have made sense to you. You say, well, damn, you're a decent person. You never tried to harm anybody. And you just showed every day to mind your own business. And you were producing. And you later found out that the environment was set up against you to chase you out. Sometimes you don't have to do anything. That, you sometimes delivering your best and being the best and doing a good job may be a problem, especially for a company if they want to justify slashing staff members. You may have been the reason why they couldn't do an organizational change. And a quote unquote chosen one thing I've seen where it often happens on jobs where get some group of managers, they just decide they may feel that you may not be a good fit because you're the best at what you do. And at that time they may not want your best. They may want a problem, or they want to restructure a whole organization, you know? And my heart goes out to anybody who happened to experience it, because you would say, wow, I thought society tells us they want professional people to go in to do the best possible job possible. You happen to be unlucky and get to an organization and that's not what they were looking for. The other thing is, those that identify as chosen. Um, if it happened to you the first time and you didn't know, my heart goes out to you. You know, you got to recover. When you become aware of the circumstance and you realize a situation is designed to destroy you, the longer you stay there, it's a conscious choice. And you don't have to stay in circumstances or jobs that don't honor you. And I would wager to say that any job you go to where you have to fight to stay there, or your best characteristics are weaponized against you, it's time to go. Sometimes, you may find yourself overly vested into a situation that doesn't deserve it. You know, then, you have to be masters at picking what circumstance is worth to endure. And, you also have to be better at finding environments or persons that honor and respect your strong suits, and not actually trying to weaponize them against you. So essentially, what I've seen from those that identify as chosen, you got to be able to read a circumstance and know when it's time to get out of it. You have to be able to find those environments with like-minded people like you where you guys can create an echo chamber or a biosphere where you guys are feeding off of each other and feeding each other the right stuff. And every environment you get into, if you see the forest for the trees, it's just time to leave. I don't care how much the job paid, it's time to leave. And most of the time it's because it's the jobs, man. This is where most people encounter this type of sabotaging or destructive behaviors targeted at your psyche. It's on the job, and it's of no fault of your own. Sometimes at a company, your best may not be helpful for their team for what they may be trying to do. I've seen cases where you may be at a job and you excel at it. And some places may say, well, the longer that this person stay here, they are too good and they may be harmful for the team. It sucks too, because sometimes a person, this is going to sound ridiculous what I'm about to say. I had a manager pull me to the side before and they was like, you are too efficient at your job. And they will say something like they can't build a whole team as long as you here. I've heard that. You know, you don't take it personal. You just got to know when it's time to move out of environments. And do let me say this: if you stay in the wrong environment too long, that environment will start reshaping you and reframing you. And the only way you may be able to survive is if you start disassociating and compartmentalizing your mind, which it has its drawbacks because you will look up one day where you telling yourself in a situation, let me just endure, let me keep going. But the environment and those around you are reframing your nervous system to such that you'll wake up one day, the longer you stay in that environment, your mind will create an inner conflict with itself. You'll say one thing and the brain may do something totally different. You'll end up in a place where you'll be double minded and your mind will start working against itself. That's what happens when you stay in a wrong environment too long. Again, my heart goes out to you if you're in one of those type of situations. You know, now that that type of circumstance has happened, you have to do a better job at knowing when it's time to move away from a circumstance and finding those people who honor what you are.